Hello and welcome to another typing puzzles video. This one was actually sent in by OXDF on my Discord. Not show too much or it spoils the puzzle. Yep. So we'll look into the larger example. But let's clone it and get started. Enter code/typing puzzles. And as always, we're going to set up a virtual environment and we're going to install MyPy. We are using version 1.16.0 today, and we're going to look at puzzle 007. All right, so our puzzle today, there's a bit of code to set this up, so let me just run you through it quickly. There's this nAdmin class, which has a user lookup. There's a user class. We don't actually care about the implementation here, so I've stubbed it out. We have this n object. This sort of represents the models objects in this person's code base. It has a get field value. None of this is super important, but our bug is in this post class down here. Post is an n object. It takes in that nAdmin that we saw earlier, retrieves a user ID from the n object. Obviously, it's not implemented, but pretend. And lazily instantiates a user. Now, of course, if I were writing this code, I would probably remove this bit here and just use cache property. That's a simpler way to write this code. But let's try and fix the actual bug here rather than just doing something completely different because obviously cache property cheats this problem a little bit, but let's actually follow it through. If we look at the implementation of this function, it looks like it should work. It checks if the user is none, then assigns it if it is none, and then finally returns the user. And when I saw this code, well, I instantly knew it was wrong, but I'm going to walk you through the thought process and how I might go about debugging this and then fixing the problem. So the first thing that I would do, and the debugging tool that I use all the time when dealing with typing, is reveal type. And I usually put a few reveal types in here to try and see why it thought that this was not actually being assigned to none. And probably the first is to see what it thinks this expression is. Now you can actually just wrap it in reveal type, but I usually like to put it on its own line just so it's, I don't know, a little easier to delete the debug code when I'm done. But you can actually just write it in line here because reveal type will return back. Well, it doesn't exist here. I would have to import it, but MyPy will provide it in the namespace by default. I actually don't like importing it from typing because then it's really easy to accidentally leave it in your code base, like a debug print. But let's put this here. And if we run reveal type on this, you're going to see that it actually gives us any, which is suspicious because we look at our class here. You know, we're getting in this nAdmin. We're assigning it to self._n, and so it should have this nAdmin type, right? Well, we can actually narrow our reveal type further and say, well, what is this self._n? It should be nAdmin. But if we look at it, it's any, unfortunately. Oh, I guess I should have shown the hint. Well, this is a good enough time to show the hint as any. As any. That was unintended. The bug is actually in how we define this class. So an object was generic on the thing that was passed in here. And unfortunately, we've inherited from it incorrectly. MyPy can actually help us out with this. Well, if you were using strict, you would see there as well. But disallow any generics. Well, disallow any, capital Any generics. I actually think this is a it's a difficult thing to say out loud, but it means that it disallows generics that are implicitly becoming any. And you'll see here that it tells us that we are missing our type parameters for generic type n object. And if we were to go here and add those generic parameters here, and admin, oh shoot, I should have done this in solution.py. Oh well, I'll do it after the video. If we properly specify our generic here, so now we're actually filling in the type variable here. Oh, also we're using the Python 3.12 syntax, so yeah, this example only works in 3.12. You could, of course, do it with generic t, but I already have the nice syntax. But anyway, this is the solution to the problem, is to specify your generics. I usually find it's the best practice to always specify this in projects so that you're not making this mistake accidentally. Any's can sneak into your code base way too easily, and this is one of those examples. Real type, incompatible type, user variable has type none. Yes, of course. And now that we've done that, we need to tell it that this can either be a user or none. Because MyPy thinks, oh, you initialize this as none, that means it's always none. But in fact, we need to tell it that it's late in it. It's eventually going to become a user. Now, if we run this again, you'll see that it passes. Our reveal type tells us that we got our generic properly, and we didn't have to adjust any of the code down here. No asserts, no casts. We just fixed our generic here. So the takeaway here is use disallow any generics, and I don't know if I showed the README, but that was the hint here. Hopefully you found this useful, and thank you for submitting this on the Discord OXDF. Neat little example, and yeah, I predicted it before they had even shown the useful code. Anyway, if you have other stuff you want me to feature in a video, leave a comment below or reach out to me on Discord. But thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.